Greetings, friends. My name is Pavel Stelmach, and now we will dive in the top news of this day. Attempts by Russians to break through the eastern direction were stopped by the defense forces. The Russians continue to attack unsuccessfully near Kupiansk, Avdiivka and Marinka. At this time, Ukrainian forces focused on the destruction of enemy manpower, military equipment, ammunition depots, and logistics in the rear. A significant weakening of the resource and logistical capabilities of the Russians is a necessary prerequisite for the liberation of the occupied territories. Despite complex fortifications, engineering barriers, and minefields, Ukrainian troops continue to advance gradually. There are certain successes in the Staromayorsky and Klishivka area. At the same time, British intelligence reports that Ukrainian forces continued counteroffensive operations on at least 3 sectors of the front line and reportedly advanced on July the 20th. Russian forces continued limited ground attacks on the Kupiansk-Svatovo-Kremenna line around Bakhmut and along the Avdiivka-Donetsk city line, and advanced on the Kupiansk-Svatovo-Kremenna line as of July 20th. Ukrainian forces continued limited offensive operations east of Kupiansk, near Kremenna, near Bakhmut, and along the Avdiivka-Donetsk city line, and made gains near Bakhmut on July the 20th too. Ukrainian forces continued offensive operations near Vuhledar, on the administrative border of Donetsk and Zaporizhia regions, and south of Orikhiv, made limited territorial gains. But apart from the last night, the Russian Federation launched yet another missile strike on the territory of Ukraine. The third night in a row, the Russians attacked Odessa, this time with cruise-caliber missiles from the Black Sea region. Early, they made missile and drone terror to the port infrastructure, now switched to agricultural enterprises in the region. 2 rockets hit the granaries of one of the agricultural enterprises. A fire broke out, and already during the fight against the fire, a second alarm was sounded. Another rocket hit the same enterprise, damaging agricultural and rescue equipment. The enemy destroyed 100 tons of peas and 20 tons of barley. 2 employees of the enterprise were injured. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has warned that ships heading towards the Black Sea ports of the Russian Federation and occupied territories may be considered military targets. Navigation in the area of the Kerch Strait is prohibited as dangerous. The deterioration of the safety of Black Sea shipping is a direct consequence of the Kremlin's reaction of the grain agreement. Ukraine resorted to a symmetrical response to the announcement by the Russian side of military targets of ships bound for Ukrainian ports.
By openly threatening the Ukrainian vessels which carry food out of Ukrainian ports, targeting with missiles and drone attacks civil infrastructure in peaceful cities, and engineering a military threat on commercial seaways, the Kremlin has transformed the Black Sea into a space of unsafety primarily for Russian vessels en route to their domestic ports and to the ports of Ukraine under temporary occupation. The Russian authorities hold entire responsibility for exposure to risks. Statement by the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine.
Ukraine's corresponding step can play the role of a deterrent for the Russian Federation, which is planning to attack civilian vessels. Ukraine has military capabilities to obstruct Russian shipping in the Black Sea. On the part of Ukraine, this is a legal and justified step because the Russian Federation uses civilian ships for covered transportation of military cargo. Over 400 million people around the world rely on vital Ukrainian grain supplies to ensure their food security, mainly in countries in Asia and Africa. By refusing to extend its participation in the Black Sea Grain Initiative, Russia puts millions of people around the world at risk of hunger and provokes rising of food prices. This is part of a deliberate Russian strategy to destabilize countries in Asia and Africa. Russian terrorists want to acute food crisis to trigger social unrest, migration and political crisis. Right after killing the grain deal, Russia demonstrates its true attitude towards global food security by attacking key Ukrainian seaports, Odessa and Chornomorsk, with numerous missiles and drones. Russia deliberately strikes Ukrainian cities which are vital for global food security in order to achieve its political goals. We urge the international community to join Ukraine's efforts to save vital grain exports to the world and take a principled stance. Together we must protect those most vulnerable around the world, whom Russia tries to hurt. Despite what Russian propaganda says, around 2/3 of the overall volume of Ukrainian exports went to developing countries, and to those most vulnerable to acute food insecurity in countries in Asia, Africa and Latin America.
Продовжуємо працювати, щоб мобілізувати світ для захисту продовольчої безпеки.
We continue our work to mobilize the world to protect food security and normal life. Today, for the first time in the history of relation between our countries, I spoke with the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, in particular about Russia's attempt to destroy our grain export. Today, about 20 million people in Ethiopia are on a verge of famine. This is one of the most critical situations in the world. Last year, Ukrainian exports saved the lives of at least 1 million Ethiopians. That's how much food we managed to send to this country, almost 300,000 tons. And if it wasn't for the Russian aggression, we could have saved many more lives and provided much more security. I'm confident that this year we can do it. All together, the whole world. No one in the world is interested in allowing Russia to destroy the global food market.
Last year, the world united to ensure Ukrainian grain exports, which had been blocked by Russian naval blockade of Ukrainian seaports. With the help of UN and Turkey, we managed to launch the Black Sea Grain Initiative, which has proven to be a vital lifeline for the world. Its results are spectacular. Almost 33 million metric tons of agricultural products were exported to 45 countries. Thanks to the Black Sea Grain Initiative, more than half of the global supply by the United Nations Food Programme has been covered by Ukrainian grain. That concludes our today's video. Thank you for watching and stay updated. Subscribe to our UATV English channel for more news from Ukraine. Stay tuned for a weekly wrap-up with Henry Keane on UATV channel. Goodbye.